I love it. I love it. Okay, so I know it's just me and you right now, but you also have
Mhm.
a partner.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm very curious on how was the partnership formed and what are some tips when it comes to partnership?
Yeah. Um, our partnership was it was funny because I had a few people.
Welcome to the Marketing for the Culture podcast, powered by the African American Marketing Association. Each week, we'll bring you an insightful conversation from some of the best experts in our industry on how to advance our career. Join the collective of Black marketers across the world, advancing their brand as we work towards creating a collaborative community. Hey, good people, welcome back to the Marketing for the Culture podcast. I know I've been MIA, but I am back with an interview with a new colleague, Isaiah Studivent, who I met through a mutual friend. And we're going to talk about all things marketing. Isaiah, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I run a company called Evron. We're a digital creative and media agency. We've been around for going on 2 years now. I have a background in marketing, so I started doing graphic design at first, and then it felt really limiting at that point. I felt like I could serve people at a higher level. That there's more to it. That the scale at which I can make an impact. That there's more to it. And so I taught myself branding and marketing, and we've just been able to execute and grow our company from the ground up. So it's been a fun journey.
Marketing for the Culture podcast is brought to you by the Concord Leadership Group and their new 10-week leadership coaching certification. Coaching helps leaders excel, and learning coaching skills helps leaders unlock the potential of their team. You will learn more about this ICF accredited coach certification in today's episode. Okay, so I want to dive into that a little bit more. I wish I had the skill set of graphic design because I would save a lot of money.
Right. Yeah.
But as a designer, what were some of the things that you noticed that your clients were missing that allowed you to kind of expand into offering more services?
What I was seeing was a lack of creativity just to begin with. They were very big on stock images and just, very simple, like clip artsy style of creative. And I was just like, there's more here that can be untapped. Because to me, I believe that creativity is at the heartbeat of culture, and the best way to relate to your audience is through creativity. So what I was able to do was kind of figure out, what's your creative style, what resonates the most with your audience, and just amplify it, make more of it, and see what resonates with them the most. So I was just able to figure out that to bridge the creativity gap, in my opinion. I think there's a creativity gap in a lot of companies right now. And what we're doing is we're trying to bridge that gap. That's one piece of the puzzle that we're fixing right now is the creativity gap.
Okay. So a lot of business people, let's just say they're starting from scratch. I'm a business. I know what I'm strong in, and obviously I have skills that I want to offer.
Right.
How do I determine my creativity style? I know what I see on Instagram. Oh, I like it. That looks cute. That's pretty. Or if I'm a man, like, yeah.
Here's the funny thing. People are probably not going to really like this answer, but your creative style isn't up to you. It's up to what resonates with your audience the most. So they select your creative style. So you can have a brand. Branding is, that's all you. But when it comes to like the creativity that goes into it, like the context that goes behind it, the work that goes into ideology, you have to do what resonates most with your audience, what they want to hear, what they want to consume, how they want to consume it. So finding your creative style is up to your audience. So you figure out what they want first, and then you kind of, make iterations as you go.
That's good. I was not expecting that answer. Okay. So with that in mind, because I do believe in social listening, but there has to be a balance of you can't serve everyone, and then you can't, stray too far of who you are to the core. So I guess just kind of help me understand how you navigate this process with your clients.
So we start off with we figure out what are like our content pillars. So we start our creative process like through strategy. So we're not just taking shots, guessing. Like I hear a lot of people want to be disruptive, but there is still strategy to being disruptive. And so we like to start off with like, what are your foundational belief systems? What are your core offerings? What is it that makes you who you are? That's how we start. And then we play our creativity within inside those boundaries so that we don't go too far and it's like totally off brand. So the audience does choose the creativity, but like we give them options. We don't just like let them go left field and it not be on brand at all, and it just loses the integrity. That's the last thing we want to do is sacrifice integrity for creativity. That's something that's not our MO. So we like to start off by saying like, here are some of the topics that we believe will resonate most with your audience. These are on brand. Perfect. Let's start to make iterations of it. So we're huge on iterations, making iterations of the content, the context behind it, the ideology, the creative. It's just so much like that goes into it. And so we're just huge on trying to go to the edge of the parameters without actually crossing that line. So we try to play within the box that they give us. And a lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of creativity in the box before you try and think outside the box. There's a lot of resources and tools that you haven't used that are still within the wheelhouse that you have.
Oh, I like that. So there's a lot to play with inside the box?
Yeah.
Before you think outside the box?
Yeah.
Okay. I see you with the nuggets. All right. All right. So I know I love going deep immediately, but let's backtrack a little bit. So what are the type of clients that you enjoy working with, or that's, on your client roster right now?
Yeah. So we like working with companies who are in hyper growth mode. We like to do 5 million and over in revenue. Just because at that phase, what we kind of see is that there is an issue with them, crossing over that milestone to get into the 10 million, 20 million. So for us, it's like, let's fit right in there. A lot of people are going for the huge companies, the bigger companies that are really massive. And so we're trying to find that sweet spot where they have enough, they've done enough themselves to get themselves to a good point. All they need is amplification of that. And so where we come in is we try and work with companies doing, 5 million or more, and like really just bring that creativity to them. Try and find that what culture is inside that company and how do we personify it through social media and like the entire digital ecosystem as a whole.
Are there any particular industries that you focus on? When I hear hypergrowth, I'm thinking startup tech-ish.
Yeah, so we try and work with startups. Like so the good part about us is our approach is like really agnostic to sector. So we don't have to pick a vertical, but we like to stay within the realm of like a startup, fintech, ad tech. That vertical is that we're finding our comfort spot right now in that vertical. So
okay, so 5 million in revenue. They probably have a marketing team of 1 to 3 people, maybe. Mm-hmm. So how are you coming in to complement the organization or the marketing team?
What I have researched and what I've also experienced is that a lot of companies at that level have what they call, I forget the terminology for it, but it's kind of like first level leadership. That's the leadership from when the company first started. And you'll hear it a lot. You'll hear from the Grant Cardones of the world that to break that $10 million, you have to but you have to start to replace and cut out the fat. Like there are a lot of people who started this thing that are not going to be able to push that agenda much further than it is. They've gotten comfortable. And so for us, it's like, we're just coming in to really extract the most out of what's already there. So there may be maybe people who need to get replaced or they're people who are good. They just don't have the backing. Like their team is a team of 2 and you're trying to build this entire acquisition machine and it's like it's not enough, and then hiring is a lot of money, and it's like, let's try agency world. So we try and come in and supplement and be like, hey, take some of the stress off of you, put some of that weight on us, because I feel like distributing the weight can make the vision go much further. And so like that's how we try to take that approach.
Consultants and marketers sometimes need to be coaches. But what if you don't know if you're really coaching? The Concord Leadership Group's program will teach you how to utilize coaching skills and frameworks and how to market your services so you can create a new revenue stream. For more information, go to concordleadershipgroup.com/coach-certification. That's concordleadershipgroup.com/coach-certification to apply for your next course today. I love it. I love it. Okay, so I know it's just me and you right now, but you also have a partner.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious on how was the partnership formed and what are some tips when it comes to partnership?
Yeah. Our partnership was, it was funny because I had a few people on before when I first started, being overly ambitious, having a couple people on with me. And over time, what I realized from them was that a lot of people don't get the vision, nor do they want to sacrifice for it. And so one of the biggest tests for me was early on when I was talking to a few of the people that were on board with me. I was like, listen, I don't like to be wrong. So please check me when I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm not doing something right, if you see a better way to do it. And nobody ever did. And so it got to a point where everybody pretty much left and it was just me. And I got a call one day from somebody who was supposed to still be on board, but he wasn't. And he introduced me to my partner that's now, his name's Shalik. And it's funny, the very first time I spoke to him, we were talking about, actually doing this business thing full time. He kind of ripped apart all my ideas and all my goals that I had. And he was like, yeah, there's a lot of this that we need to fix. And from that moment, I knew that there was something different about him. And I think what makes us work so well is that we're a yin and a yang. We're two polar opposites. And so we get to see the spectrum from a very different point of view. Like I may be hell bent on one idea and then he may come from left field. And I'm like, dude, I didn't even think of that because I'm not even thinking in that perspective. And it actually, his idea fits better than mine or my idea fits better than his. And I think one of the best ways to do a partnership is having somebody who is in a sense at one extreme and you're at the other, because now you have the entire spectrum to meet and find common ground and see who's right, instead of it just being you or you having someone very similar to you, because now you've missed the other half of the spectrum that you just might not have, that might have been more lucrative for you if you had somebody who was on that opposing side.
Yeah, I completely agree. I know when I first started, I definitely wanted a business partner for that exact reason, because I think I'm an ideas person. Mm-hmm. I always have good ideas. I can't execute on too many of them. Mm-hmm. And people are like, how do you have good ideas? I'm like, I'm always thinking, but it sounds good. I don't know if it's a thorough idea. And you have to have that thought partner, just to see what is tangible before we start executing. Okay. So since you, I guess, kind of went through so many people, it's like you knew what you were looking for and eventually came. Mm-hmm. So what tips do you have when it comes to forming a partnership in business?
You have to establish the vision early. One of the worst things you can ever do is not establish it early. You just kind of get this ambitious entrepreneurship bug and want to run with it. And now 5 years later, you're at $10 million and you, the originator, looking to go to 100 million, but your partner got comfortable because you never established what the vision was. They got comfortable because they thought $10 million was the vision. Like, okay, we're comfortable now. So you have to establish like, how far are we taking this thing early on? Like you have to establish these things early because it'll come back to bite you if you don't. And so me and Shalik and I have already established, like, we're trying to build as many companies as we can. Like we want to be $1 billion brand. So I know that I have a lifelong running partner in Shalik. So establishing the vision I'd say the other part is you have to be humble. You think as the entrepreneur, as half of it, that your voice sometimes matters more than the other. So you have to be humble. And there's a lot of times where I had to shut up and listen, hear him out and like take some time to swallow that pride pill and be like, okay, he's right. He's right. I was probably wrong here, or my thinking wasn't the best here. This is probably a much better approach. So just being able to have a sense of humility and actually hear your partner out, because there's a lot of times that you may screw something up because you didn't want to listen to your partner. You let pride get in the way. So those two things to me by itself will take you a long way, just establishing the vision and having enough humility to hear the other person out.
Very cool. Since you do have a partner, I kind of want to go back to the client attraction or client acquisition side. So how do you, I guess, divide and conquer? And what are some of your strategies when it comes to gaining new clients?
Yeah, so we've reached a very good point in the company. Early on, I was doing a lot of fulfillment, and he was handling sales. He was handling like almost everything else. But now we're at a good place where we're both doing acquisition. And so for us, we're leveraging the technology that we have in front of us. So we're using, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, we're using Crunchbase, like there's a plethora of tools that we have in front of us that we can use. And so we're leveraging it. And so, right now we're at the point where we're going door to door. We're sending cold messages. We're doing volume. Like we want to get volumes with the people because somebody's going to say yes. Like, our mentality is that you're always you're not one no away, you're one yes away from absolutely changing your life. And so right now we look at it like there's a lot of people who do cold emails, they send a lot of cold messages, but I think what differentiates us is that we're not sending a salesperson to your business. Like we will walk in your business ourselves and ask for the CEO. And you'd be surprised, it gets you a long way. Like people respect the fact that you actually walk in their business and want to talk to them. And so a lot of times they'll give you the time of day where they'll set a meeting and they'll stick to it just because not that many people are willing to kind of take the humble road and walk in there because they sometimes feel like, hey, I'm too big. I'm the CEO. I'm the entrepreneur. I'm the partner. I don't have to do that. I can hire somebody. Not always. We know where we're at. We know what's working for us. And so for us, it's like just volume, like getting in contact with as many people as we can, because you're one contact away. You never know who's going to be that yes. So we're going to find out who that yes is.
So you mean to tell me traditional methods are still working?
By far. It's funny. Our biggest client right now is our biggest client. They're a Silicon-based company. Did like valued at $300 million. They just got a $26 million Series B funding, door to door. I can't explain it any other way. Like you have to try whatever works for you. Like for some people, door to door may not work. That's fine. But you have to figure out whether it doesn't work or not. And so we've been willing to try just about everything. Yeah. We spent a lot of money figuring out like what works for us.
I agree. And I do think, especially when you're new, you have to just throw as much out there to see what sticks. Absolutely. Another thing that's important though, your target. At least 5 million in revenue. So they're probably hovering with 10 to 50 employees, maybe. So it's not too many people. So there's not that many gatekeepers, but I think that's the importance of knowing your ideal client, how to get to them, how to target them. So yeah, got to do your homework, people.
Absolutely.
Got to do your homework and figure out what works. So what else do we need to know? What are we missing? I know you dropped a few resources with LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, and Crunchbase. What are some other resources that is just helping you, and not just gaining clients, but just being efficient in operations as well?
There's a lot. I'm trying to pick the best ones. If you're an entrepreneur, whether you're in digital marketing or you just run a company, I would highly suggest you reading articles and publications. Like I've been reading the Harvard Business Review. I read Ad Age. I read Adweek. I read Entrepreneur, Bloomberg. So I'm literally studying the game at all times. To me, that has made me very sharp. Like for us, this is our first recession that we're going to be in business in. And so there have been articles that have really helped us bootstrap and get prepared for something like this. So I would highly suggest finding a publication that's in your industry and really studying it, kind of dissecting it and looking at it from not a sense of, oh, it's a magazine for my entertainment, but it's a publication that can actually educate me and like really take me to the next level. Specifically for marketers, or if you're in like the marketing niche, or you're the marketer for your company. For us, like digitalmarketer.com, like that's our playing ground for like getting our education and just being on top of it. I think that you have to always be learning, whether you're in marketing or not. Like if you're in business, you have to always be learning because there's always something that needs to be iterated. And for operations, the Google Suite, I'll be honest, for us, like we do the Google Suite for us. That's why we keep track of everything. It's just very in sync. We try to use as the least amount of software as possible, just because we want it to be cohesive across everything. Or it can be a Google partner. However that may be, we just wanted to make sure that whatever we're doing is always together, because I hate chaos. I can't stand it. We tried to do Dropbox at one point. I'm like, no, this doesn't work. This isn't for me. Google Drive, we're sticking to Google Drive. So there's that. I promise you, we really don't use a lot of things to make what we do work. Like we're looking to, in the next 6 months, to scale our tech stack to something much more complex, because we know that for our growth potential and where we're looking to be in 6 months is going to require a lot of more things. And for us, it's like a much better client comm system. That's another acquisition channel, amplifying our CRM, landing page building, things of that nature. But we don't have a really intense tech stack at this point. We don't really need it. We don't want to spend extra money for something we don't really need at this point. So,
right. Okay. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to drop for the listeners, and of course how they can find you and all that other good stuff?
Yeah, you can find us everywhere. Evron Digital. Look us up: Pinterest, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever. We're a social media company, so we kind of have to be everywhere. But I think the best advice I can give, especially for marketers or people who are in business looking to grow something, I would say the first step to growing is clarity. A lot of people are throwing caution to the wind. They're throwing everything they can at something they haven't objectified yet. They haven't clarified a end goal. So they're saying, cool, I want to build $1 million company, but you don't have a roadmap. You don't have like benchmarks. You don't have goals. You don't have tasks. Like it's just like, okay, I wake up one day and I have a brand, I have a product, and I should be a millionaire by now. It's not how it works. So for us, like we're really big on saying, get clarity of message, because this is what we understand. This is the nugget. This is the real nugget. And I learned this from Donald Miller in the workshop. And he said, consumers don't buy the best product or service. They buy the one that they understand the quickest. And so that's why clarity is so important, because you have to understand like how to communicate in the least amount of words and the best words, because people aren't really looking for the best. They're looking for the thing like that they can understand the quickest, because the quicker you can explain something, the quicker you drop their defense system that they have, because everybody has a defense system when they're being sold. They can feel it. And so those who are the best at clarifying their marketing message and their overall, culture, those are the ones that win. They always win the customer. So I would say focus on start back at the foundation and just get as granular as you can. So that's my advice.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Well, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show, the Marketing for the Culture podcast. I know I'm excited about your future. I know there's a lot in store. So this is just the beginning. But yeah, you heard him first. You heard everyone first, Evron Digital first on the Marketing for the Culture podcast. That's what we're trying to do, to have this platform for Black marketers to come on here, share their knowledge, as well as just the overall growth strategy, as we're all trying to advance. So once again, listeners, thank you. Please subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. Definitely trying to grow that platform. And once again, thanks for listening to the Marketing for the Culture podcast. We would like to thank our sponsor, the Concord Leadership Group, and their 10-week leadership program, with the next course beginning in September. Remember to apply today at concordleadershipgroup.com/coach-certification. That is concordleadershipgroup.com/coach-certification.